All right, South Carolina softball is having an unbelievable season. And I'm not talking just like good season for first-year head coach, like an unbelievable season for any head coach, no matter who they are. But Ashley Chastain Woodard, Claire, has put together a first season as South Carolina's head coach that is unbelievable, historic in so many ways. Yesterday, we were at the selection show for South Carolina softball. They're the number 8 overall seed at the NCAA tournament. So not only are they going to host this weekend, they're going to be hosting a super regional if they get out of this weekend. This is unbelievable what they've done this year.
And this is a team that was picked to finish last in their own conference, let alone number 8 in the entire country. So it's really special what they've been able to do. Like you said, Ashley Chastain Woodard, she set a new record for most wins by a first-year head coach for the South Carolina program in the regular season. I believe it was at 39. That set the record. She's at more than 40 now after the weekend in the SEC tournament. So really, really exciting things for her and the whole Gamecock crew.
It was such a great reaction as well at the selection show. It was between them and UCLA, I believe, as that last super regional host, that national seed, as they call it in softball. And South Carolina got it. I mean, the screams of joy were unbelievable. It was so awesome for a group that no one really had expectations for just a few months ago. But when you look at their region, Claire, I think this team can get to Oklahoma City.
I really do too. As you look at who they have in the regional round, they have Virginia, Elon, and North Florida coming in. First, they're going to take on Elon on Friday. Elon, some of their losses they have this season are teams that South Carolina already beat. Clemson, UNC, Duke. And a couple of those, they were run rule victories. Yeah. So I think that's, I don't want to say easy because all these teams are in the tournament for a reason, but that's a good first team to get, having those, looking at that resume. And then they have Virginia. That's a team that they started the year with 2 wins over, one of those being a run rule victory. So I think that's a good first look at hoping to get to super regionals. And then you have that staying in Columbia hosting super regionals as a national seed. So I think the position they're in is a good one.
I think it's a good one as well. As you said, it starts on Friday against Elon. But we got to talk to the Gamecocks at their selection show yesterday. Ashley Chastain Woodard and her players very, very excited for what is a deserved national seed at this year's NCAA tournament.
It's just a moment that none of us will ever forget. You know, we set out to do something really special last summer with this roster, and I could not be more proud of the program. So thankful for, you know, this department for believing in me, believing in the staff, you know, that we could get the program to this level, and just really proud of the players. They work so hard day in and day out, and just so excited for them. You know, we have the opportunity potentially to host a super regional here in Columbia, which is the first time, you know, that we're going to be able to do that in program history. So it's historic. It's a day that the program will never forget, and just really excited about it.
Excited to hear our name in the top 8, but just excited, ready to go, and ready to host a regional and a super regional. I think the resume that we had for this whole season, the success that we've had playing in the toughest conference in the country, what we did, I think we had every reason to earn a spot in the top 8, and I'm really glad that everybody else agreed with it too.
All right, the Gamecocks getting underway on Friday. And in case you're new to college softball, because it's also a sport that is rapidly growing in popularity, it's not like basketball, you know, football, where it's like one and done. You lose and you're out. In softball, baseball, you have to lose twice. So if South Carolina wins on Friday against Elon, they'll continue in the winner's bracket and go into Saturday. Should they lose on Friday, tournament's not over. They just fall into the loser's bracket, but then they can't lose again if that happens. So you do have to lose twice this weekend in order to get out. And the math does work out to where only one will be remaining standing when that happens. South Carolina, though, the big favorite to get out of this weekend. But Claire, before we move on, what are some of the big storylines or some things you want to say about South Carolina softball as they get ready for an NCAA tournament?
Well, you talk about how this team was doubted at the beginning of the year. Part of that reason was obviously the new head coach, but it was also who she was bringing with her. It was a lot of girls that had not played at the SEC level yet. One of those being her star pitcher up in Charlotte, Sam Gress. And what does she do? She comes in and gets all SEC honors. She's named to the all SEC second team, all defensive team. And kind of what surprised me about that was she was the only one from South Carolina to get SEC honors, just because how comprehensive and well-rounded we've seen seen this team be all year round, but you also have to remember, after seeing Selection Sunday yesterday, there were 14 SEC teams.
Say it again. 14. 14. That's insane.
That just shows you how stacked the SEC is. So congratulations to Sam. Awesome for her. A 6th year coming out for one final year of eligibility, and she's certainly gone out on a high note.
Yeah, South Carolina getting underway on Friday. We'll be there for all of it on Watch Fox. So you can watch us on Sports Zone, and we'll also, of course, have you covered here on our podcast next week with the result of this opening weekend regional.